Hello and welcome back to the NFT Fundamentals course. In the previous lesson, we discussed about blockchain technology, and now in this lesson, we will discuss what are wallets, how to define a transaction, and learn about cryptocurrencies. Before starting with a wallet, let's first understand the public and private key pairs. Suppose there are two users, Mukesh and Manisha, and both are having a digital account in the bank. Now Mukesh wants to send some amount to Manisha, then what are the things he needs to know? Well, of course the account address of Manisha, right? But in order to access his own account, Mukesh also needs a password to his account. So anyone who is holding the password of Mukesh's bank account has an access to the account and does the transfer of money from this account. Now you can consider a public key as the account address, which can be shared with anyone to receive the amount, and the private key as the password. The one who has a private key will have access to the account and be considered as the owner of the account. Crypto wallets keep your private keys, the passwords that give you access to your cryptocurrencies, safe and accessible, allowing you to send and receive cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Unlike normal wallet, which can hold actual cash, crypto wallets technically don't store your crypto. Your holdings live on the blockchain but can be accessed using a private key. Your keys prove your ownership of digital money and allow you to make transactions. If you lose your private key, you lose access to your money. That was all about the wallets. Now let's talk about transactions. The data on the blockchain is in the form of only transactions. These transactions represent the movement of value from one address to another. Basically, a transaction is the transfer of value between two parties. Particularly speaking for the Bitcoin blockchain, these transactions are the transfer of Bitcoins between various nodes that use the network. These transactions are nothing more than the records stored within the blockchain, or you can say the ledger. Now, which activities on the blockchain are considered as transactions and how they are validated is a long story and beyond the scope of this course. You can follow Dapworld and take blockchain basics course in order to get the deeper understanding of how blockchain works. But let's understand the complete story with an example in brief. Let's say Mukesh and Manisha are two friends. Mukesh sends some amount of crypto tokens to Manisha's wallet address. Now this transaction is recorded, and according to the consensus mechanism, the validators or miners will validate the transaction and broadcast the transaction on the blockchain. If the blockchain is public blockchain, then everyone who is participating in the blockchain network will have access to this transaction info in the form of hashes. Let's see an example of transaction on Etherscan. Basically, Etherscan is the block explorer for Ethereum blockchain, where you can find any activity that is happening on the Ethereum. Now this is the Etherscan website where you can find all the activity that is happening on Ethereum blockchain. We have already discussed that the blockchain stores the data in the form of transactions. Here on the screen, you can see that on the left hand side we have the latest block information. Let's open this in the new tab and see what we have got. Okay, the first thing is block height. It's the block number from the Genesis block, or you can say the first block being submitted on the blockchain. So at the time of this recording, Ethereum has broadcasted this latest block on the chain. You can also see the timestamp and how many transactions are there in the block. We also have some information about miner, as the Ethereum is still running on proof of work, but that's going to be changed after the launch of Ethereum 2.0. Basically, it will be migrating from proof of work to proof of stake. Now below you can find all other informations like difficulty, size, total gas used, the burned fees, block hash, its previous block hash, and nonce. Now let's go back to the home page and try to view the transaction details. Let's open this latest transaction in the new tab. You can see we have plenty of information about the transaction, like transaction hash, status, block height, from and to addresses. Now some of the receivers may be the smart contract addresses instead of just some wallet public address. So you can explore many things from here. Now that you have understood the transaction, let's see what are cryptocurrencies and why we call them cryptocurrencies instead of just calling them digital currency. You must have noticed in the example that each information is not directly readable. Instead, it's in the hashed form. A hash value is just an output of plain text or ciphertext. Hashing is a cryptographic technique that transfers any form of data into a special text string. For any given input, there is a single output. When you put plain text in a hashing algorithm, in simpler terms, you get the same outcome. For the same input, you will always get the same output. Suppose you change anything about input or the plain text to the hashing algorithm, the output also becomes different. In the Bitcoin blockchain, mining is essentially conducted by running a series of SHA-256 hashing functions. Now, since the digital or virtual currency on the blockchain is secured with cryptography, they are called as cryptocurrencies. Now, what is the purpose of introducing such cryptocurrencies? Well, there are several use cases of cryptocurrencies, like they are developed on blockchain, hence everyone owns their currency, unlike the fiat, which is mostly governed and controlled by the central or single authority like banks. The transactions done are secured and confidential. That means they cannot be tracked as everything is in the hashed form. They are used to incentivize, or you can say award it to the miners or validators who validates and broadcasts the transaction on blockchain. Apart from this, there are many other benefits and challenges for the adoption of cryptocurrencies as of now. Now that's all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we will discuss what is Ethereum and smart contracts. See you in the next lesson.